Kiki Kannon here again today with another video. This is part 2 of building the Scimitar of the 7. If you haven't watched part 1, feel free to check it out, but you don't have to enjoy this video. I am sorry that it's taking me so long to get to part 2. There's been a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that I think I have sorted out now so that I can continue on. And I do appreciate the continued support from you guys since I'm still trying to make a partner. It has been a slow process. And just to show you what I'm going to be building, I'm going to be working on the sheath throughout this whole video so you can guys see how I got to this point so far. And there will be a couple more parts because I will also be making the shield. So if you're interested in seeing how this comes out and gets painted and everything, again, feel free to subscribe if you would like. And thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy the video.
So a continuation of where I left off with the blade, you can also check out part 1 where I build the blade and the hilt. Basically when I did some priming to kind of see the surface a little bit better, where I attached the blade, there is a little bit of ridging that I just wanted to work out with my orbital sander, which worked perfectly to get a nice smooth transition in between the pieces. So I'm modeling in Blender and I'm so excited to have finally finished this. Work has been kind of slow because a bunch of other things keep coming up, so I'm so happy to finally get my sheath modeled, and here it is. And so I'm going to be printing it out and assembling this together and showing you guys the process. It is still experimental, so I'm hoping that it works out, but I'm very excited for this prop. So now that my modeling is done, it is time to print, and all these are printed on my Elegoo Jupiter. I have some tutorial videos on setting that up if you're interested in getting it. I think it's a great printer. I'm sure there's a lot of other great larger printers out there, but if you're looking for a larger printer, so far these have been working really great for me. So also I do use specifically Wham Bam's flexible plates for my printers. They have worked really great. I haven't had any issues with them. This is the stronger XRT one, I believe. It's very strong. It helps hold if your print is heavy. These aren't really particularly terribly heavy because I wanted to keep them on the lighter side. So I printed these hollow so that they would be lightweight, since I will be wearing this on my back, so that my prop is pretty light. So moving forward, basically I think in some other videos I go over my cleaning process, and maybe I just need a separate video on how I clean my props, but I have a few other alcohol containers that I give all of my pieces baths in first before I move it to the Elegoo wash station. And for pieces that are really big, like this piece here, I will kind of put it in one way. As you can see, it's kind of sticking out, and then do the cleaning process and then flip it over. And keep in mind, as I mentioned before, all of these pieces have already will already be washed a few times before moving to the wash and cure station. And I make sure to cure all of my pieces, even the ones that aren't being used. As you can see in the background, I have my supports and stuff being cured so that all the resin gets cured even if I'm not using it. And sometimes I use my scrap resin pieces to help to create filler and things like that. I keep it in a box. I know that eventually I'll probably find some kind of use for it, so I hold on to them. So after my pieces are cleaned up, I let them set out to dry, and then I put them in the curing station. Depending on the size, about around 3 minutes is usually how long I cure my pieces. So now that all my pieces are ready to go and cured, I'm going to be doing some sanding. So I try to keep all of my supports, or where I put my supports, on the inside or in areas that will be easier to clean up if I need to. And it just kind of depends on the print, like how much cleaning up I want to do, if I even need to do it. For these pieces specifically, I really want them to get them very smooth, because I'm trying to emulate a more shiny metal. So I'm going to be doing the fusing process here that I have a couple of videos on of how I fuse all my pieces together. It's the same process as the blade if you guys watched part 1, where I have basically split my model into sections to make it printable. and then during post I assemble it together by fusing all the resin pieces together. And again, be sure to, if you are doing this or working with resin, to just take the proper safety precautions. I won't be wearing gloves in this video simply because the resin isn't going to be touching my skin, but I do have other precautions in place, like wearing a mask and having glasses on to protect from the UV light. So just be sure to keep that in mind. I'm just reminding you guys for anybody who is watching. And if you just want to watch a video of me explaining this more or talking about it more, I do have some other videos on that. But it doesn't really take a lot to finally get a hold fused together. And then I just keep layering it and curing it and sanding it and making sure the resin isn't tacky in between this process until it is nice and smooth and basically a solid piece. So from just the quick cure that I did do, you can already see how well it's holding together. And this was just my really fast. I'm just gonna put a few in there and cure it to hold its place. And I will go back in and keep continuing this and sanding and continue and sanding. So now that all that's done, because that would just make this video insanely long, so I do cut out a lot of the long processes because these things take me months to make. I'm going to be wet sanding the whole entire thing evenly just to get it all nice and smooth. Any other areas, basically if there's anything that kind of seems like a print ridge that might show up, I'm just trying to work that out because as I mentioned before, I want it to be silky smooth to look like metal. So here so far you can see the cage that I built for the sheath here. And now I'm moving along to make the center part. So what I did is cut up strips of paper to kind of make a pattern that fits in the sheath. And I'm going to be recreating this out of foam. So then I created my lines and my darts and my own pattern that I'll be cutting out of the foam to then put inside of the sheath, and the resin should hold it together basically like a cage, and then I will adhere these together. So I'm just going to be cutting all of these pieces out and creating the inside. So now that I got all my pieces cut out, I glued them together, and here is basically the sleeve that's going to go inside of my piece here. And I decided to add another layer to get rid of some more seams. So here it is fitted in. I did 2 layers of foam. So then I went ahead and primed all of my pieces to get an idea of how everything is coming along and looking like together. And I'm so excited that this worked since it was super experimental, and I can't wait to really finish everything. And I appreciate everybody's support. I'm going to be working on the shield next before I move on to painting, so that's something to look forward to, and hopefully it won't take as long to get to my next video. Thanks guys!